Givaldi. Okay, so today is Chulin Chaf Aleph, but we're starting Chulin Chaf Amud Aleph, and we're going to run through two block Be'ez Hashem real quickly. Yeah, we have to catch up before Yontif. So Rabbi, we're starting from 3 lines from the top in Chaf Amud Aleph. Rabbi Yanai. Rabbi Yanai. Kabla Roiv Meshuvasa. Who's the Roivim? It's the Na'arim. It's Bnei Reb Chia. Bnei Reb Chia had a shita that Malika, the way to do Malika, or the way you could do Malika, the Gemara has to start them, is that you put the Simonim, you move over the Simonim on top of the Mafrekes, to the back of the oif before you do Malika. I mean, you can't do a road from our Mishnah. Yeah, Yikabu Arov Meshuasim, the Katani Nimtza Kasha B'Shchita possible Malika. Our Mishnah says that something that's Kasha B'Shchita is possible Malika, but Kasha B'Malika is possible B'Shchita. That they're in full contrast, and there's nothing that's Kasha B'Malika that's possible that's Kasha B'Shchita. And Lemute Mai Lav Lemute Marze Simonim Lachori Areftaloi. That this it would seem that the Mishnah is coming to repeat itself. Nimtza kasher b'shchita possible malika kasher b'malika possible b'shchita is coming lemute something extra. And what's a coming lemute? Lemute maxis iman lacharei that even though that's kasher b'shchita kasher b'malika, it's that's the thing that's kasher b'malika and it's possible b'shchita. And obviously it's not kosher malika, and that's why that this is something that's kosher. This is something that would be like b'nei Rav Kia. This can't be the thing that the Mishnah is coming lafuke, because why? Because they hold machzas amon is kosher. Yeah. Now, I just want to point out that alone, that nimtza kasher b'shchita possible malika kasher malika possible b'shchita is lemute something, right? That the Gemara is assuming that it's lemute something. That's a little bit tzarchim. We're going to need a little hez, because it's really a lead up for all the other mishnayos, that all the other mishnayos also say that. So why are we assuming that this is coming to be marp or something? So to Gemara, right? My love, lemute maxis simon lacharev. Deloy amra b'okana lo lemute shen v'tziporin. So what's lemute shen v'tziporin? Shen v'tziporin, that shen v'tziporin is mutter to use b'shchita by malika, but you can't use shen v'tziporin. You can't use something that's mechuber. You can't use for shchita. You can't use mechuber. That was the Gemara before, right? Frek the Gemara. So Agavorcha, there's a whole shmooze over here in the Shem V'Tziporim, the Mute Shem V'Tziporim, that the Gemara has a tzad that it's coming lafuke Shem V'Tziporim. That means that the Shem V'Tziporim is good by Malika, but it's not good for Shchita, right? Because the Mechuber is good by Malika, but it's not good by Shchita. The problem is that Tziporin is avada. Not only it's good by Malika, that's how you do Malika. But a Shen, how do you do a Shen by how could you use Shen? How can you do Malika with the tooth, right? What's the problem? So Taisa asks Akasha that the problem of that you're missing Yumin. So Taisa says two truths. One Taisa says, which is really Mashma and Rashi, that the Gemara doesn't mean Shem Tziporin that it's going to be Mutter by Malika. We mean the concept of Mechuba, which is Nageya by Tziporin by Malika, and will be Nageya for Shchita, will be Nageya Shein as well. But obviously, we're not talking about we're not going to be matter to do Malika with a Shein. However, Tosis has a second side. The Tosis has a second side that the whole halacha is that you're not allowed to use small. But there's no din that you need dafka to yamin. Yeah, and that's the machlokes Rashi and Tosfos is the two Tosim and Tosfos. I'm sorry, is totally in the shaila. What does it mean din yamin? Is yamin the pshat is that I need dafka to yamin. I need dafka to yamin. And something that's not yamin or small would not be good because I'm missing yamin. Or the verse faket. Yumin means just lafuke small. That small is a problem, but something that doesn't have a yumin or a small or a small would be Good. So the marshal the chain that will be telling these two malachimentations. This is the pshat that I need dafki yamin or shen is obviously not to be yamin. It's in the middle. Or the word is that I need not small, and the shen is not small, and therefore will be fine. Yeah. So right. That's a Mephoshim Mishnah earlier. That what that was saying that it's coming lafuke. The sefer says kosher b'shchita possible b'malika. Kosher b'shchita is moilech umevi that you move forward and fro. Right, lemute moilech umevi, and it's kosher b'shchita is possible b'malika that you can't go there and fro. You just go, you crush down the train crushes down for Malika, and he doesn't go in the cutting fashion. Yeah. Hanichel mandama melech umevi b'malika apostle. Like the mandama that we're gonna see the Gemara is going to discuss it again. That melech umevi is talking possible malika. So that could be what our mission is coming to say. The kiddush of the safe is nimtza kasher b'shit is not for the kosher b'malika possible shchita. It's kosher b'shchita possible malika. That what malika baby is not kosher by malika. El mandama kosher Michael Meima. So tomorrow you have to say b'nei Rabbi Savi l'kamandama malika baby b'malika possible. You have to say that they take a learn that it's possible, and therefore, and then like them, and that's how they're going to touch the Mishnah. Amar of Kana, what's this machlekes? Amar of Kana, Mitzvah Malika, Koitzes v'yorid v'zui mitzvasa. So Koitzes v'yorid v'zui mitzvasa is mashma. You have to crush down mamish. You can't be Melech Umevi. You have to be Koitzes Umevi. You have to go straight down. Zakti Gemara Vaisai Sover up oven Lemeimar Koitzes v'yorid in Melech Umevi loy. That when he says mitzvah malika kosher zuhi mitzvasa, it means that you have to go that zuhi mitzvasa, and you can't do any other way. Amalei Rabbi Yirmiyah, no, this is the same Rabbi Yirmiyah that said before Lemute melech maybe. Or here he says, oh, no, forget. Amalei Rabbi Yirmiyah koshkein the melech maybe b'malika kasha, but forget the zuhi mitzvasa is that it's okay. But koshkein the melech maybe b'malika kasha. My zuhi mitzvasa ema af zuhi mitzvasa. So we hear Rabbi Yirmiyah says a svara that the pshat is, and this is how the Rashba is Marich to explain that the pshat is that malika is be'etzem ashchita. It's just that the Torah said that certain things should be done differently, but but fundamentally malika is a shchita, and therefore, if the Torah said you could go kreutz v'yard, fine, you could go kreutz v'yard as well, but avada that would not be showed the option of being merdech maybe. This is where the Achronim want to bring a raya. There are those that want to bring a raya that the ikka chelik of Malika, the ikka avoid of Malika is the simonim. It happens to be that I have to go through the mafrekes, but the ikka Malika is the simonim, and the raya is from this Gemara, because if the pshat is because if the Gemara has a svara that Polshkein, in other words, that Malika has a shaykhis to shchita. If it has a shaykhis to shchita, we know for sure that the whole avoid is cutting the simonim. If the pshat is that Malika has nothing has is the avoida of Malika has something to do with the mafreka. So what does Shechita and Malika have anything to do with each other? It's not just a difference it's not just stylistic. It's a whole different mitzias. But from this Gemara's mashma, that basically it's the same thing. They're both tzitza simonim. It's just a question of where you come from. You come from the back. You come from the mulayich. You come from the tzavar. Or if it's kosher b'mechuber, these kind of things. But fundamentally they're the same halacha. Zakti marvaita. Amar b'yemir Amar Shmuel. Kol hakosher b'shkita kenegdei ba'iriv kosher b'malika. So b'yemir Amar Shmuel said a klal that kol hakosher b'shkita. Um, Opposite on the back is kosher b'malik. Now Rashi is married to explain that obviously we're not talking about regular halachas of shchita and malika because there's many halachas that are different. What we mean is in the place that we understand that the place of that's kosher b'shchita kenegdei ba'iriv is kosher b'malika. That's what we come to say, and it's muhlak that the kiddush is benegea the dik. The apostle. Possible b'shchita, possible malika. This is obviously what the chiddush is, because the basic halacha we know that mul oirif is the place for malika. The possible shchita, possible malika lemute mai ilema lemute ikur simonim. If it means legabi ikur simonim, meaning that if the simonim were neka, simonim were uprooted, then what? Then it'll be. So that it's a place that's not good for shechita. It's not a place that's that you could be yotze shechita, and it's not a place the chiddush is that possible b'shechita is possible malika, that it won't be good for malika as well. Fact, that there's no problem of ikas imanim. Now, over here, I'm just going to stel up and mention that this is a very, very, very big toisus over here. The toisus discusses the mechloikas Rashi and the Bahag, and what the Iker we had it in Daf Tes. What one of the five things of shkita is ikur, and ikur we had a machlokes what it means, but the bottom line is the based on the machlokes of what it means. The Tosfos learned in Rashi it means the pegima sakin, and the Bahag says it means that the someone will pulled out. But in Teichad Dvarim over there, it comes out in Tosfos that there's a secondary machlokes Rashi and Tosfos. What's the halacha of ikus simonim? Is ikus simonim a treifa or not? So Rashi learns that ikus simonim that if an animal has the simonim that are dislodged, the animal is a treifa. The Bahag learns no. That's if the what's called of the simonim are dislodged, it's not a treifa. It happens to be it's one of the halacha Moshe Sinai's. The animal is still fine. It's not a treifa at all. It happens to be that b'negei shchita, it's not kosher v'shchita, but it's not a treifa. That's the chiddush of the Bahag. So for the Gemara, yeah. So like Rashi, so like the Bahag, it's very geschmack this Gemara that the Gemara has a havamina that there's no ikus and ba'oif, and therefore there's no problem at all. It's not a treifa, and therefore I could do malika with this bird even if it was not a simonim. But look Rashi that it's already a treifa for ectosis. Avadi you're not allowed to do malika in a treifa, and therefore what's this Gemara saying? What is this Gemara saying that in ika simonim ba'oif and it should be a kasher or malika? That's the basically the kasha of Tosis on this Gemara. From this Gemara. Amar Rav Papa Lemute. Lemute Roisha. That what are we learning? What's Shmuel Amar Shmuel comparing Shchita to Malika? Minageh Roisha. Doing a Malika on the head. Roisha Pshita. Obviously, you can't do Malika on the Roisha. It says Mimul Arpoi, meaning obviously it means opposite the back of the head, but not the head itself. Amar Papa. I'm sorry. My roishe shipui roishe. The slope behind the head. Kigoin the knockout mishipui roishe v'higrim. He started with his nail down from the shipui roishe v'higrim, and then he tilted. For azal adamot tatoi, and he curved under the head. So the same thing will be over here. That just like Rav said that if I started off in a bad place and I did a shlish, and then afterwards I did shtei shlishim, it's possible. So over here also, that's what Rabbi Shmuel is saying, that if you started in a bad place and then the rave of the malika you did in a good place, it will be possible. And that's what this Gemara is. That's what the Gemara is saying in Rabbi Yirmiyah Amar Shmuel. Amalei Rav Achabred Rav Ashi. This halacha that we brought down that ain't ikasimana ba'oif. We're going to see later on that there's a major machlokes Rebbe and Rebbe Lazar. If shchitas ha'if is minatayr b'chlal, it's not mefurish in the psukim at all, and the shaila is if it's midaraisa, the shaila is if it's halacha l'mishu we see that or not. So Zok there that the mandam says ein ikke simanim ba'oif lo amron el mandam ein shchita loif minater. So if ein shchita loif minater, so it's not minater. That's why there's a chiluk. There's a chiluk in shchitas in that ikar is good as well. Aval Madama Yesh Shchita Loif Minatera. But let the Madama holds that there is Shchita Loif Minatera Yesh Ikar. It's then there's no chiluk in between Oif and Behema Lagabi Ikar. Yeah, that's what he wanted to say. So yeah, Amalei Adira. So he told him back. He says, so yeah, this is what Rav made Rav told Rav Ashi. So Rav Ashi says back, Amalei Adira, but Ibn Mustaber. Punkt verkehrt. Lemanda, aber yesh chita loif min ha-Torah. Leit man, aber hold yesh chita loif min ha-Torah. And it's Allah Moshe Sinai exactly how to do it. Ikel lemay, but the hachi agmer, the ain't ikar. That it's here's midaraisa, and the halacha it was halacha Moshe Sinai, and the halacha Moshe Sinai said you should do it, but don't do it like this. And then it's a middle. There's no din of ikar by oif. The hachi agmer, the ain't ikar. Rafilu man the omar kibehem. And even like the mandama that says, then it's not just halacha Moshe Sinai by shchita of a oif, but it's mamish numbers from behema itself, right? No problem. Then you need behema. So it makes sense that the halacha Moshe Sinai addressed a shchita midaraisa, a shchita that's midaraisa, and said that the Gabi said is no ikar. Elamandama ain't shchita life in the Torah, but like mandama that the Torah didn't discuss shchita life in the Torah b'chlal. So where we know where did Rabbanan say that shchita oif that you should do shchita oif only just to compare it to behema. So kulim is like a behema, everything is like a behema. Then like that mandama obviously. And Ravashi's tiny pukvaket that if you hold ein equal to oif minatera, I'm sorry, ein equal ba'oif, you obviously hold that what the shchitz oif is minatera, not they hold shchitz oif is not minatera. So to more right, Amr Avina Amali Ravin Bakisi, hard to turn your back going to kiss him on the ba'oif, lay Amr Elbum Malika. But yeshika. And the Svara is Rashi says we're going to see in the Gemara later on. The Gemara we're going to see Mamish in the next on this Amud that by Malika there's no psul of chalada and there's no psul of hadrasa, right? Drasa we know because you're allowed to crush down. Mashenka bashkita you have to be melech maybe, right? And we're going to see that there's no psul of drasa as well. So therefore. So it's mistabit to say ikasiman ba'oif because it's all in the same. It's all in that these psulim by shchita don't exist by oif. By malik. Mashenke by shchita is the av shchita yeshika. Frakti gemara for Amar Yirmiyah. Amar Shmuel kol hakasher b'shchita connected by oif kasher b'malika. And we said whatever is kosher b'shchita connected by oif is kosher b'malika. Hapasul. And what did we say? Hapasul meaning that it includes it was that it's ikivimana. Tomorrow, it's going to be a machlekes. L'gabi this thing. If you hold the din of einikas imana ba'oif is talking about by malika only, or also by shchita, it's totally it's going to be totally in machlekes. Okay, now we're going to start a sugya. Now we're starting a big sugya about what makes something an avela, right? He says the nafkaminis. There's going to be mamish fundamental nafkaminis between the treif and an avela, right? We know for sure that's pashit that a treifa that was geshachten is not matama. It doesn't become tame, right? It could still have a kosher shchita. It could still shchita still works on it, but again that it's not matama. But some things, certain wounds, that makes it into a ganza nevela, and it has a nevela, and the shchita doesn't work on it at all. Right. So now we're going to go into that. This is a very very sensitive gemara that we're going to come to. We're going to come back to them, but as Hashem throughout Chulin, these things that we're going to discuss here on Chaf Beis and Chaf Aleph Amud Aleph. Amaziri Nishbera Mafrekes V'Roiv Bas. Mafrekes is the spine. We had this is spinal cord, and around the spinal cord there's a whole big piece. There's a whole bassa. There's a whole. It's all right. It's all it's a there's a lot of flesh and what goes around it. Yeah. So if it's nishbar mafrekes v'roig basa, if it got chopped, not just someone broke his back, it broke his back and it was cut with the roig basa, or a majority of the basa, ima nevela, v'roig basa ima nevela. If it split in half with the roig basa, it's a nevela. Rav Chisda, I want to bring it right. Some Rav Chisda v'nana mitanina. Malak v'sakin mitame begadim abeis habli. If we have a brisa, the Mishnah says that if somebody was malak v'sakin, in other words, instead of doing malika with the tzibayir, he did malika on the oif from the back. He did everything like malika, but he did it with a sakin. So then the halacha is mitama begladim abeis abliya. So this is kedai to shtel up and to shtel avek again another big yisoid. That the pshat is that by nevela, by behemoths and chayis, the halacha is if it dies without a proper shechita, so it blibes in avela. What's the halacha of an avela? An avela has regular tuma. It's regular. It's matam benegi, it's matam b'masa. That's an avela. However, a bird does not have that halacha. A bird doesn't have the halacha of tumas of regular tumas nevela. A bird has a halacha which is only by a oif, and nevelos do not have this, which is that a bird tumas. If you have a nivlas oif, a nivlas oif tar, the halacha is that when once somebody swallows it, that's when he becomes tamei and he has to be mechabes begadim as well. And the marshal, it would be negea tumas base. Rashi read this. It would be negea. It would be possible to have tumas begadim base abliya by an animal also. If Louis saw, let's say somebody else put a piece of nevela into a person's throat without touching it, so it would be possible theoretically to have Thomas Bugad Mabes Abliya by a regular nevela as well. But Lamaisa we don't have it. There's only Thomas Bugad Mabes Abliya is only negea by a is only negea by oif. The Amit Trefa, the Amrit Trefa. Ha, oh, fragt die Gemara Kasha, wie Amrit. Yeah, so Melo is up there. That one at the time got my base of Blia vibes and never safe talk, right? So up there, via Mitrefa have you. So Vice stories that it became a nevela through the Malika. Why? Because if not, if by cutting through the mafrekis, I did a Malika's sakin. What happened? It blibed only a treifa. It only blibed a treifa, but it did not become a nevela. Right. I cut through. I went for the head. He went for the back, and he cut through the mafrekas roivba. So he cut through the back, right? And let's say it's still a treifa. Then I'll continue on, and I'll cut through the simonim, and then let it be a regular shchita. Tani lo sakin l'tayru midei nevela. So let it be a regular shchita, and it's a regular shchita's treifa, and the halach of a shchita's treifa is that it's not a nevela. Yet, Tahani lo sakan l'tarim de nivela. That's the Gemara's kasha. That is the Gemara's kasha. L'chura is a raya that what that it became that every time nishbara mafrekes v'roiv basar ima it became an avail before I got to the simarno. So therefore, it's not going to be a kosher shechita. That's the Gemara's right. So the Gemara Amri, yeah, very says the Amri. Says the Gemara's Amri Hosam Mishum Delav Shchita Ikla. No, a shchita, a malak v'sakin is not going to be a kosher shchita at all. My time, but two truths, two pshatim. Ravuna amam neshu machut, and Rav amam neshu dois. Ravuna says that if you shecht with a knife through the mafrekas, through the spinal cord, that's not only going to be a problem of it's not only a problem. It's not only going to make it a treifa, it's going to make it into not a proper shechita. Why? Because that's called a machlid. Machlid means kalada. We're going to see is a lotion of a is a lashon of a rat, and the word is that it has to be that you have to be able to see the shechita. And over here you can't see the shechita. Why can't you see the shechita? Because since you if somebody shechs from the base from the tzavar, when he shechs from the neck, so it opens up, so that he'll be able to see everything. Mashenkin, if somebody cuts through the mafrekis is still very stiff, and therefore it's going to stay closed. So he's going to get his knife through, but it's not gonna open up, and therefore he's not going to see anything. So that's called chalada. Rava Amar Meishu Doris. That no, a different problem. Since he's chopping from the back, so the it's drisa, and if it's drisa, it's not a shchita, and therefore if it's not a good kosher shchita, it bleibt in a vela, and that's why it's gonna have nivus. That's why it's time because my base. So the Gemara and Ravuna and Rava are arguing. Why are they arguing? The one that said the reason is Mishum Machlid, and he holds it's not a problem of Drisa. My time alone Mishum Daris. Every time you do a Malika is a Daris. So the Gemara Malika Kasha. No, he holds that if you do a Malika maybe Malika it's Kasha. So therefore, when the Mishnah says Umalak Basaka Mitam B'Gad Ma'Beis it could have been that he was Malika maybe from the back, and therefore it's so so it wouldn't be a problem of drisa. It would only be a problem of chalad. And like the madam that says what's wrong with the svar of my time machlid? Amalach chalada hechidami. What's chalada is kecholda. It has to be kecholda hadara be ikre batim. It has to be like a rat that taka lives in the holes, or beikres in the under the houses, in the under the basements, the metasia that are covered. Twacha hamigalia. Over here, it is somewhat exposed. Why? Because the pshat is because even though the base hashchita is not covered, but the you could still see the knife. You could see the back of the knife. And since you could see the back of the knife, so therefore it's considered like the other mandava, like the mandava said like Rava, it's only a problem of drisa, but it's not a problem of chalada in such a case. Even though the base hashchita would not have opened up in such a case, but it's not going to be a concern of it's not going to be a problem of machloek. That's how the Gemara says. Now, what's the machloekis legabe chalada? So there are those that want to say that the machlokes is the is the problem. Is what do we have to see? Do you have to see the base hashchita, or do you have to see the knife? If the pshat is I have to see the base hashchita, even though I can see the back of the knife, I can't see the base hashchita because the base hashchita didn't open up at all, right? Mashenkin Rava that holds it's not a problem of chalada because he holds that as long as I see the knife, the back of the knife, it's not called chalada. That's how some want to say. Um, I guess I mean I'm just the Gemara seems to be comparing the light Rava. Why is it not Falada? So the Gemara kechol dadar b'kei batim yuchasi hakol megalia. So what's the vort in the what's the I mean Ravuna also is masking that's the Taichin Chalada. It's just that he holds that the Beis Hashchita is a problem. Yeah, it would be mashma a little bit that Rava holds that I need that the sakin should go under like a rat goes under, that the rat goes like a holder. That's the word. That's the word why it's a problem. In other words, he's saying a svara why Chalada why we're going to go bust the chalada of the sakin and not the beis hashchita, because this I need the sakin itself to go like a chalada. Maybe okay. So tomorrow right to Amarava ikashali. If I have a kasha, kashali. This is my kasha. In other words, that I you want to say that nishbur mafrekas v'roiv basa ima becomes an avela, so then oiba zoi I have a murder to get kasha about every malika. Why? Because v'chim meisa oimer every malika, l'chura, he went through the mafrekas v'roiv basa first, and then he gets to the simonim, right? So l'chimesa omer the right? And this is again with the yisoid that the Achronim say that the pshat is that the malika is avada. The malika itself is the simonim because it's like a shita, and avada, that's the malika. Oh, but frankly, Gemara, but by the time I get to the Simonim, I already cut through I already cut through the Mafrekas very basa. So male, it's already a Mesa. And if it's a Mesa, even a Melik, Amalei Abaye. So Abaye says 1 second. The Tikshilach oil oif. The boyish simonim. That 1 second. Oil oif. The Gemara we know we're going to see in the Gemara later on that the pshat is that by oil oif what you did was he cut both of the simonim. He doesn't by the malika. He cut right over there by a chatas oif. It says v'lo yavdol. You keep it together. So you keep one simon together. Mashing by oil soif that you separate both of them. So by oil soif that I'm separating both simonim. So weiter over here, but after the first simon, the boy yishnei simonim v'chimesa oimerim oilik. So forget about the mafrekes. Stamazay. By every oif we know oif shkitas oif is simon b'simon echon. That after one simon it's already dead, and after that one simon that it's already dead. How do I do? What am I doing the shchita? What am I doing the malik on the second simon? That's the Gemara's kasha. Now the Rishonim are very bothered by this Gemara's kasha, the way Rashi explains it, because b'chura because oif one simon is going to make it into one oif is going to make it into a shachut. It's going to make it into shchita, but it's good. But it doesn't buy a mesa. Over here we're saying it's a mesa. It's like an avela. Excuse me. It'll buy a treifa. But why is the Gemara asking a kasha that from the fact that by a oif the simon echod makes it into a treifa and it's a kasha or shchita? Memel the Gemara is assuming that the pshat is the kasha of chimesa emunah. That's the kasha. Yeah, that's the kasha. So they say that the Gemara understood, and this needs a little bit more hezbollah, but I'll just tell you what the shmuz is. That the Gemara understood that if the pshat is that um um that because by oif simon echad works, so then by nishbar mafrekas v'roiv basar fashteitzach it would be an avela no matter what, and that's l'kuli alma. So in other words, what he's saying is like this, and I'll give it a little bit of a hezbollah. Ziri came with a chiddush. Nishbar mafrekas v'roiv basar. It's an avela. Right? What's the chiddush? Well, what's he coming to say lafuke? He's coming lafuke. Everybody knows that if there's a little skin together, it's not a problem. He's coming to be mechadish that you don't need the mafrekas and the two and the simonim to make it into an avela. It'll be an avela by mafrekas and the roiv basar alone. But everybody's masking, like we're going to see later on in Chafal from Aleph, that Avada, once you have the two simonim with the mafrekes, that's pasha that you're going to blibe, it's going to blibe in available. So, right? And therefore, and from there we could deduce, if everybody understands that a mafrekes basar with the two simonim makes you into an avela by an animal, so by oif, that you always have one simon is enough, everyone should understand that there should be an avela by a oilus oif by one simon as well. So Mel is up there. Affect Abaya if this taina of chimesa oimer and moiluk is an emes taina. So then why you have a problem every oilus oif? Every oilus oif the Torah said you should do two simonim. Why should do two simonim? The second simon is already a mesa oimer and moiluk. Also could have the kind of Mrs. Havdalah in a kanami. There's just a din of that you should be mavdil, but the mitzvah avdol is not a chelik in malika. That's not going on a chelik in malika. Malika was done. It was agaton already after once I got through the first simon. But right, and then there's a lot that I have to be mavdil. But that wouldn't be a kasha of chimei somin malik. Mashakin, if you're telling me that nishman my freckles for redimoy, it becomes an avela, and I didn't even get to the simonim yet, so I didn't do a malika. So what's going on if we have chimei somin malik? Effective more ihaki or nami. If there's a din of Mrs. Malika, if there's a Mrs. Havdalah, Stam a Mrs. Havdalah, and it's not part of the Malika, so then Oibazoi by a oil soif, I should have to cut the or also. It's just the Mrs. Havdalah. Suck the on that. In other words, that the pshat is that this is not currency, or is not even a currency. Lagabi the neck and lagabi shchita and malika. It's not even a language. When the Torah talks yavdil and not yavdil, we talk in the language of simonim. We're not talking about something that's not ma'akiv b'shchita. I didn't have to have the skin there in the first place. So for Steitzach, there's no halacha. Yeah, yavdil, lo yavdil. I didn't have to have it there in the first place. In fact, the Gemara for me it's simonim l'rabbanan l'ma'akiv b'shchita ma'akiv b'avdala. Oh, here we're gonna see. We're going to see a big machlokes the Chachamim and Reb Lezer Reb Shimon, and that's going to be the that's going to be the Chaf Aleph. This halach a big machlokes when by oilus oif that you have to be mavdil. So the halacha is that they have to be mavdil. So how much are you mavdil? Are you mavdil one? Are you mavdil a roiv simonim, or do you have to be mavdil the whole simon? Right? That's going to be the machlokes. We're going to see it. More is going to tell us the drushes. We're going to go through the drushes, etc. We're going to see. Yeah, it's going to be a machlokes. Frankly, Marakasha, if it's totally in ma'akiv b'shchita, right? So miyat simonim is already not the last the rabbanon that hold that I have to cut through both simonim completely to get avdol by so if frankly Gemara. Miyat simonim is not makiv b'shchita. For miyat simonim, the rabbanon lay ba'akvi b'shchita, ma'akvi b'avdola, and it's makiv b'avdola. So why are you saying that the or is not included? Because not makiv, it's not makiv b'shchita. The miyat simonim is also not makiv b'shchita, and it's still part of the avdola of oil. So we have to change the language somewhat. And this is called yeshnoi b'shchita. Even though the miyat of the even though I don't need the miyat, I don't need it. It's not ma'akev b'shchita, but it's called yeshner b'shchita if I did it, and therefore it makes sense that it should be part of the mitzvah avdallah. But I think the or that's eina b'shchita b'chlal, it's not part of the shchita b'chlal. Rashi explains that the reason is because l'chatchila I have to check through the two semanim, and that's why it's called yeshner b'shchita. Mashing the or there's no such a l'chatchila. Yeah, that's how the Rashash learns in Rashi that the Rashi is explaining the Maskana Sekabara. V'lo she'eina b'shchita ain't about. So it's not a kasha about the or. So now we're back to square one. Rav asked this kasha. You're going to say my freckles Yomoi makes it into an avela. So anything past that is already dead. And if it's already dead, by Oilus Ha'oif we find, I'm just giving a quick sikum. By Oilus Ha'oif we find that even after Simon Echad, Mafrekas and Simon Echad, we tell you to go be taught the second Simon, and that's V'chimesa Omer Melech. The teretz is that the second Simon by Oilus Ha'oif is only out mitzvah Havdalah, which Takei Nechanami, it's not a mitzvah, not a chelik of Malika, and therefore it's not a kasha that's V'chimesa Omer Melech. However, we're back and the or is not including mitzvahs havdalah. That was the gemara. But lemaisa, but we're back to square one. Ziri said that mafrekas v'roiv basa makes it into an avela. So how do I get to any malika? The first before the first simon, I already got through the mafrekas v'roiv basa. Moving to Chafal from Aleph. So tomorrow, Amar Rava, Ema v'cheinu. I said, this is how you do it. Choiter shedra umafrekas. Beloy roiv basar. The client has to be very careful when he does his malika to carefully maneuver around part the mafrekas with only some of the meat that's surrounding the mafrekas, but make sure not to get the roiv basar because if you got hit the roiv basar, it will blind an avela. He saw the Reb Zera Ashkelon Ravami. When Reb Zera came to Eretz Yisrael, he met Reb Ami. The Yosef V'Kamer, Tosis says it has to be Dafka Rav Ami, not Rav Asi, because Tosis we're going to see that Tosis is a big machlokes Rashi and Tosis how if Zeiri stems with the next Gemara, and Tosis learns that it's a machlokes, and therefore it has to be Rav Ami, not Rav Asi, because the next Gemara is going to be Rav Asi, and Rav Asi is going to argue with this. That's what Tosis learns. Rashi we're going to see it's not masking that it's a machlokes asugis, and it's all so you don't have to necessarily change the gears. He was saying this to Torah. Which Shmaitza of Zeiri that what Mafrekas Haroid Basa. Mafrekas Rav Basa comes in. Amalei, so he asked the same kasha. That what? Reb Zera asked the same kasha. He may say, so Ishtoimim Kishachada. So Rav Ami thought for a second, and Amalei Ema Kachuwaisa Chaytich Shedru Mafrekas Blay Rav Basa. And now the Gemara brings Tanya Nami Haki. Kates Amol Kichatas Oiv Chaytich Shedru Mafrekas Blay Rav Basa. Until he gets to the veshet oilakana, or either the veshet oilakana. He get the veshet oilakana. Choitech simen echad eiruboy. Either one simen or roiv one simen. And then after he got to the simen echad, we're going to come back to the simen echad eiruboy. We'll get back to this in a second. Right after that, he's taught v'roiv basa imoy. And then he cuts the roiv basa. But before before he cuts the simonim, he should make sure not to hit the roiv basa. Taka like Ziri said that in my frank roiv basa would make it an avela and he makes it and by oila he cuts shnayim or roiv shnayim, either two simonim or roiv shnayim. Frankly, more. This brisa doesn't show. We mentioned already before, and this is now was mentioning it again. That this machlokes Reb Lezer and Reb Lezer Reb Shimon and the Chachamim. If by oif you have to cut ganze simonim or roiv simonim. Frankly, more man irabonon harm bishnayim. Like the Rabbanon, they say it has to be two complete simonim. He says it has to dafka be not. You have to keep it together. You have to make sure just Rav Shnayim, not Gan Shnayim. So Mela, how could this Brisa say Shnayim or Rav Shnayim? Which one? Who's it going like? The Brisa Taka means to say that we're not getting into that machlokes. We're mentioning both. Ema Shnayim, Rabbanon, Rav Shnayim, Rav Shimon. They're both going like Reb Lezer Reb Shimon. My Shnayim Shadaimim L'Shnayim. Now what? That's going to be before that in Reb Lezer Reb Shimon, even though he holds that it should be Roiv Shnayim, but it shouldn't be a Roiv Shnayim b'tzumtzum. You should try to do it that it should be more than Roiv of the. It should be nice. It should be a Roiv Nicker. So since it should be a Roiv Nicker, so that's what we mean Shnayim or Roiv Shnayim, meaning either a Roiv Shnayim is a mitzumtzum Roiv or Shnayim Shadaimim L'Shnayim. In other words, it's almost completely severed. Another very famous Gemara. Nishbur mafrekes v'roiv basar imoy mitama ba'oil. If again such a kind of halacha like ziri, if somebody is nishber mafrekas roiv basa imay, if his spinal cord with the roiv basa was severed, mitama ba'oil, he's already mamash ameisach holdavar, he's already mitama ba'oil. V'im toima oisa maisa de eli, the maisa the pasuk by eli. We're gonna come to this story in a second. The Gemara is going to bring down the pasuk that by Eli Akayin they came to report to him that it was nishber the aron alikim, that they pushed him, captured the Aron, and Eli was walking, and he got so shocked from it, and he lost his footing, and he fell down, and he broke his back, and he died. And it's mashma that he died from just that second. He just died. So for the Gemara, over there, there was no Rav Basa. It wasn't a cut. He just broke his back. So how did he die? Didn't tell me I said Eli Mafrekas below Rav Basa. It was no Rav Basa. So why is Vayamas? So the Gemara, Shani. He was an old man, and since he was an old man, the old man made it that he should die from just the Mafrekas without the Rav Basa. And it's not coming first in the pasuk. It says Vayikis Kirios Aaron Elikim, when they mentioned to him that Aaron Elikim was captured. Vayipal me'alakise acheranis. He fell from his seat acheranis backwards. Ba'ad yad ashar. Vatishaver mafraktoi. He broke his back. Vayomas. And the pasuk fears us. Ki zakana ish v'kaveh. So, because the Eli was a kizakin ish, and that's why, since he was a zakin ish, that's why he taka broke his. That's why he died just from breaking his back. The kaved. 1 second. I'm just trying to. I don't remember where I saw this from, but the v'kaved part is not going on. The kizakin ish is why he died why he died just from a broken back. But the v'kavod is how he lost his footing. That's how he. That's from because he was. So somebody say that. Okay, let's go weiter. Yeah, sagt mal weiter. Amar Shmuel bar Chmeini. Amar Shmuel bar Chmeini. Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Oh, Korei kedag. Mitame ba'oil. If let's say somebody was like one of the salon slit down the back, yeah, slit down like a dog. That's how you fillet a fish, yeah. Mitame ba'oil. He's also dead. Amar Shmuel bar Yitzchak umigaboy. So kipshutoi umigaboy means dafka if it was cut in the back. In other words, not dafka in the back and not from the stomach. But Mashenkin, if somebody was cut down the front, he's not going to blind nevela. But there are some Rishonim that say fakert and migaboy that from the front is koshkein and Shmuel Bar Yitzchak is coming to be marba being Amar Shmuel also gistera nevela. If somebody was also gistera is a lotion of gisa, two gisa. Trey Gisi. In other words, somebody was split in half. He was split into two. If he was made into sides, right? In other words, that there's two sides is nevela. So now over here, what's it called a gistra? So a gistra by cutting somebody cut the if somebody cut the if somebody cut the neck, that's for sure gistra, right? But Rashi says also that you blind a gistra by a behema by just cutting the spine cord, but not without cutting all the way half and half, just cutting through the spine. That's already a gistra. I don't know. I don't understand why exactly that's called gistra, but that's how Rashi has it. Yeah, we'll show you a picture. One second. Here. Here's Asa Kedag, yeah, if he filleted a fish or Kari Kedag by the animal. And here is a Gistera. Gistera is he cut through the neck, or he cut through the Shedra, or he cut through over here. These are what? These are all Gistera, and this would blibe and he blibes in the Vela. Sagt die Gemara weiter. Amar Abeleze, Nitel Hayerach, we're going to get to this in Trefus. Nitel Hayerach, V'chalal Shelo, Nevela. If the animal's thigh was taken, V'chalal Shelo, and the halal, that we'll see, Nevela. Hechidam V'chalal Shelo, Amar Rava, Kosher Vutza, Veniris Kasera. When an animal that when it goes down, normally you can't see the missing part because there's flesh that comes down and covers it. But if the whole side was taken, that's gonna be a nevela. So here's the oh boy. No, one second. Here's if you see this, here's she's Revutza, the Halal Shalah is missing. Now it happens to be that the Sichas Chulin points out that it's a machlekes rishonim what the word halal shalah means. If halal shalah means the it means the spot that's missing, or halal shalom means is referring to the area that it would have been that the thigh would have been. Yeah, the two pshatim in halal shalom. Okay. Anyway, something more right. Something more right. Tznan hasa. Tzura sheim. Yeah. Hotzura sheim. So what's hotzura sheim? Hotzura sheim means that the whole head was cut off, right? So the question is, so the big problem is, how does this stem? Yeah, even though you have a chicken without a head, right? It's running around like a chicken without a head. That's this mefarchis, and it's moving around, and it's mefarchis, but its head was chopped off to make. Why is it tummy? Because it's that it's moving. It's just these are just just nerves that are flexing, but it doesn't show any life, right? It's just like the ozon. If you chop off the tail of a worm, it's still going to move around, right? So my hutsu, Rish Lakish hutsu mamish, meaning that it was cut. You cut down you cut side the mafrekes and side the sumarim. Ravasi, this is Ravasi, Amar Ravmani, Kavdos also oif. That what? That you cut the mafrekes with the two simon. So the problem is, here's the problem. Shalos has the shtim with the Gemara before. Ziri said that mafrekes basa makes you into what? Makes you into a ready nevela. And here we're saying that you need what? You need hutzu aroish, which means either hutzu mamish complete, or it means kavdos osoif. That is the shaila. Massive machlekes rishonim and how to shtim this. There's like four shitas, but we're going to just mention Rashi and Taisus because we're running out of time. Rashi is mechadesh that this whole Gemara of Hutzu Roshem is only talking about Shrotzim. Rashi says it's only talking about Shrotzim, but and Shrotzim, since their life is somewhat less is their place, their level of life is on a low level. Therefore, for them, they could survive even if you had even if you did the mafrekas basa mashenkin, right? And they're different. They need a whole hutzu roshan. The whole thing should be chopped off. That's how Rashi learns. Tosis learns it's a machlekes sugis, and that's why Tosis said before that it can't be Rav Asi because this Rav Asi doesn't hold like Zeiri. That's this Gemara over here. Rav Asi Amar Rav Mani Kavdol Soif. So Gemara right. Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah Rav Asi Kavdol Soif. Rav Yirmiyah asked Rav Asi. Rav Asi said Kavdol Soif. Now and Rick Lakish had said Hutzu Mamish. Hutzu Mamish means that the mafrekes and the two Simonim were completely cut. And Rav Asi said Kavdol Soif. So he wasn't sure if he's arguing or not. Amar Rabbi Yirmiyah Rav Asi. What are you saying? Did you mean Kavdos also Rabanan, which means only Roiv Simonim Veloy Kavdos also I'm sorry, the Rabbanan that means the Simanim are completely severed, v'loy polkisu, and you're agreeing with Rish Lakish that means Hutzu Mamish that's completely cut, or upalgisu, or you meant to change or argue with Rish Lakish. Rish Lakish said Hutzu Mamish means completely cut off, including the two Simanim, and you said no, just like Rav Lezer Shimon that Kavdos, which means the Mafrekas would only rave Simanim. Like those as over Shimon Upagin, and I'm arguing with him in what Hutzu Oish is. Ikadambi. Another lashon of the same thing. Shimon Lokashama Hutzu Mamish. Ravasi Amar Ravmani. No, he in the second version, Ravasi Amar Ravmani originally explicitly said that he's arguing. Kavdol says Oifer Shimon B'Roiv Shnayim. So now here's the Gemara that the Gemara says, "My Rabbanim, my Rabbi Shimon." This is where the Gemara starts the machlokes of Rabbanim, Rabbi Shimon. I think we should start it real quickly. You have another 2 minutes to what? Yeah, yeah. This is the machlokes Rabbanim, Rabbi Shimon. What's the machlokes legabe? By oilas ha'oif. Do you have to be mechalik both simonim completely, or is it enough to be mechalik them roif? Yeah, that's going to be machlokes Rabbanan Rav Lezer Rav Shimon. The time. Yes, Hashem yasa oila kanish. But with this part is talking about by carbon the that by Koban the halacha is that by a dal, right? A oshir brings a chatas, brings a regular chatas behema, right? A dal brings two birds. He brings a chatas hoif and oil hoif, right? And we have the famous shtickle Torah from the Even Ezra. The Even Ezra explains why is somebody bringing oif bringing two carbonas when somebody behema was bringing only one. So the Even Ezra moedigi says the Even Ezra, so the Even Ezra very gishmak because the pshat is because every animal has both chalakim. as the achilas kohenim and the achilas mizbeach. Mashenkin by oif, you either get the achilas mizbeach by a oil soif or the achilas kohenim by chatas oif, and not both. So memel, if somebody's bringing a bimkoim for the for the chatas behema, he has to bring both the chatas oif and oil soif. Something more right. Vesasheni yasa oila kamish, but the pasuk says when it's talking about this oilas choiva oilas oif by a dal. So vesasheni yasa kamish, like somebody, like the already established rules. Where are we talking about? Kimishma what? Kimishma chatas behema. Not the oima kimishma chatas behema or any other kimishma chatas oif. Maybe it means kimishma chatas oif its counterpart. So the markisha why the kriva. The Torah earlier said, but when it was describing the oilas, the oilas nidava, it says vekrivoi, and vekrivoi that it's specific vekrivoi. The Torah clearly differentiated between chatzayif and oilzayif. Umani mekayim kimishpat. So therefore, it can't be that vekrivoi is. It can't be that kimishpat is coming to compare oilzayif to chatzayif, because the oilzayif is not. The Kriva said that other side is not compared to Tzayif. So what? Kimishpat. It's Kimishpat Chatas Behema. It's Kimishpat. It's the what it's coming to replace. It's coming to replace the Chatas Behema. So it's coming to tell you that it's also Kimishpat. Ma Chatas Behema Eina Ba Ela Menachulin Ubiyoim Ubiyadi Amanis. Just like Chatas Chulin is only brought Menachulin, meaning it can't come from Ma'aseh and it has to be Dafka Biyoim Ubiyadi Amanis. Right? Af Oif Eina Ba Menachulin Biyoim Ubiyadi Amanis. And over here, famously, this is the famous Maisa with the right, the famous Maisa in the Meshech Chochmah. The Meshech Chochmah wanted had he held that he got Gili Eliyahu or something in the Shemayim. He had a dream that they were masking to his pshat, that he found for the Rajba's kasha, that the reason why I need a pasuk to say biyoim by oilas oif, because since this oilas oif, like the Ebenezer, is coming bimkoim aktaras imurim, and aktaras imurim hektachalim veivarim akasha kol laila. So I would think that this should be kosher by laila. That's why I need extra pasuk to say this biyoim. Imal alon beroiv shnayim. But what when imal alon by chatas oif, by chatas behema, that it's roiv shnayim is good. Afkan roiv shnayim tam loima umalak vehekter ma haktorah haroish ba'atzmoi v'aguf ba'atzmoi. Just like by haktorah, we have a pasuk that tells us that the oil oif is the oil oif, the body of the oif is huktar separated from the head. Guf batzma, malika roish batzma v'aguf batzma. That has to be completely severed, and there shouldn't be even a mixas, a miyat that is still attached. So this is the chachamim that argue with Shimon, and they hold that what that roiv shnayim is not good enough by oil oif. It has to be shnayim, not roiv shnayim, right? And Rabbi Shmuel agrees with that. He just changes a different thing. Shmuel oimer kimishpat chatzoif machatzoif mimol oirev. Af oilus oif mimol oirev. That we learn out from the kimishpat. It's for chatzoif, but the not the yeah, not benegea lo yavdul benegea. What benegea mimol oif? That it's also from the back of the neck. Imal alon moilik venim avdul, because the Torah says by chatzos oif and moilik venim avdul b'simen echad, but by chatzos oif you're supposed to keep it attached in one simen. Afkan moilik venim avdul b'simen echad, one simen you should not keep attached. Over there, that's where Rabbi Shmuel used the vekrivai to tell you that what that oil sefer chatzos oif are separate. But bottom line is, and Rabbi Shmuel and the Tanakama, or both hold that the shechita of oil oif is complete shnayim, not roiv shnayim. Shimon no kemishpat chatzas oif malalon oiches beroish ubuguf umaze afkan oiches beroish ubuguf umaze. That what my kama hochikama malalon kshu oiches beroish ubuguf maze. Just like Bechatas Oif, when you're holding on to the head, you still have the guf. Okay, we'll furiously alon. You only have to cut one siman, and by other Oif, you have to touch cut the roiv of the two sumanim tam loim vekrivai. That vekrivai does say that it has to be different than a oil Oif, but we learn that from Chatas Oif. Commission Chatas Oif, they're just like Chatas Oif, it's still attached somewhat. By others, like also it should be somewhat attached, and since it's somewhat attached, that's where Rav Shimon argues with the Chacham, and he says it should not be completely severed. The two Samanim should be Roiv Shnayim.